The market just exposed who the real investors are and the people just chasing the next hot thing. What did we see? We saw last week that Bitcoin dropped down to 60K. And that's roughly around 50% from its all-time high. But Bitcoin, the fundamentals didn't change. You just got scared. The fear and greed index went almost to 9 out of 100. And while people are fearful, this is the time where you just start stacking. This is when you've been waiting for all year. You've been saving your money to buy when everyone is fearful. Because I will tell you, Bitcoin going from 60K to 100K, that's what, 40% gain? And that's a lot easier to get from 60K to 100K than it is from getting Bitcoin from 127K to 150K. And that's less money then. See, right now, this is where you get your money up. This is where you get your chicken bag up, okay? Let's recap what happened, okay? So this year, we still have yet to see what's coming. So I want you to understand, we still have the Clarity Act that if this gets passed before midterms, this could be a huge catalyst for Bitcoin to still go up. And also, midterm is coming up as well. So what are you going to see? You're going to see that the people that's currently in the administration right now, they're going to attempt to pump up the market as much as possible so they can win the midterms, okay? And the reason why it's important for them to win the midterms, they want to have control over the House, the Senate, and the president, okay? And the reason why it's important for them to have control and why they want control is so it's going to be easier for them to get bills passed and laws passed, right? And if the Clarity Act doesn't get passed before midterms, most likely, I'm not going to lie, I don't see it getting passed afterwards, right? It's going to be a lot harder if they lose full control, okay? But regardless, Bitcoin cryptocurrency is still going to go well because it went 15 years without major legislation, right? But legislation is going to help a lot because who do you see buying most of the time nowadays? It's going to be big institutions like BlackRock, MicroStrategy, right? And when there's more clarity and legislation, it's going to be a lot easier for them to invest because one of their biggest fear could be like they set up all these ground rails, they're investing in cryptocurrency, they're building stable coins, they're building tokenization, and then another administration comes and they cancel all that. They say it's illegal and they wipe it all out. And basically all that investment they made went to zero, okay? So that's one of their biggest fear, but we still have those two major catalysts which could pump the market up, right? But I want you to understand that 50% drop is actually one of the easiest times in Bitcoin, right? Because 50% drop, oh, okay, perfect. You can invest in Bitcoin at lows. What you're going to see is that we're going to get a bunch of fake rallies. So we went up to about 70K right now, a little pullback. You might see us even go up to 76K, 80K. We're going to make lower highs and then we're going to drop down even further. That's a very possibility. So my question to you is, if we go down to 50K, are you prepared to buy or are you going to sell what little you have? Okay? If you're prepared to buy at 50K, then those are going to be generational buy. For sure, I think we're going to touch the 200-week moving average, which is sitting around 57K right now. So I definitely think we're going to touch that eventually. But what you're going to see is that for the next 6 to 7 months, we're going to have a bunch of boring Bitcoin. Basically, no one's going to be talking about Bitcoin. People are going to leave the market. They're going to chase the big next hot thing. It could be gold. It could be silver. It might even be real estate. It might be Apple, Google, right? And you're going to see people going to forget about Bitcoin. But the true investors, what they're going to be doing is, while everyone is forgetting about Bitcoin, while it's boring, they're going to be eating. They're going to be eating. They're going to be buying more and more and more Bitcoin. And what's going to happen is Bitcoin, they're going to have accumulated so much during this time period. And what you're going to see during midterm, you're going to see a skyrocket, or maybe even next year, skyrocket. And the people who are buying right now, they're going to look like the smartest investors in 4 to 5 years because they got some of the most best entries. ever. Okay? And so which side are you going to be on? Are you going to be the guy who's scared out of his mind right now? Or are you going to be smart? Are you going to invest right now and then ride the way up? And it's easier said than done to say invest right now because realistically, if you're a smart investor, you probably were buying the dips last year hoping we're going to get a bigger blow off top, which we didn't. Okay? But what we did get is that we got great buying opportunities right now. So I want you to understand, make sure to still have some emergency fund because there's a chance that Bitcoin could go way lower than it is right now, okay? So make sure you're saving up maybe 3-6 months of expensive. By the way, this is not a financial advice. I'm just a guy on the couch just talking, okay? But make sure you have emergency fund, right? Because if you see Bitcoin go down to 50, 40, I don't think it's gonna go down to 30K, right? But I don't want you to panic. If you don't have any emergency fund, what's gonna end up happening, you're gonna smash sell and so you can have an emergency fund, but what you end up doing is you sold at a loss and you lost purchasing power, okay? So have your emergency fund. And same time, make sure to build up your skill sets so you can have more cash flow. See, the way you really are gonna be successful in the Bitcoin, crypto, any investment market is one, you want to produce more than you consume. So when you produce a bunch of things, you get rewarded. That could be your salary. That could be more money. And then you want to consume. Consume is going to be what's in your budget. Are you eating out every single day? Are you buying new cars? Are you having a bigger house than you can afford? That gap between what you make and what you keep, invest that, save it, invest it, and then don't look at it, right? And during these down markets, figure out like, okay, I'm going to be buying more Bitcoin, but how can I increase my cash flow? Maybe as you get a new certification for work and then you get a new job. Maybe is instead of your current job right now, you get a 1099 job. And so now you can save on taxes. Maybe as you get another job, you work part-time afterwards. Maybe you get a weekend job, something like that. Okay. Or maybe you bounce to another job and get a pay increase, or maybe you start a business. Just focus on how you can increase your skills so you can get more cash flow, right? And then even from there, if you're going to save, maybe you can save in some cash flow products so you have consistent income coming in. What I want you to do is I want you to be prepared that we might go through a boring phase. And what are you going to do? Are you going to just step out, forget about Bitcoin, and then come back when it's at all-time highs where you can barely make any gains? Or are you going to invest right now when it's at 60K, 50K, and it can easily get to 100K? It might take a couple of months, right? But what's a couple months when you have a 10-year outlook? But you guys like this kind of content? Tell me what you guys want to see next and check out this video right here.